In this video I'm talking about a Sony RX100 Mark VII, and why would you want to buy this camera? So I'm here in very rainy Krakow today, Krakow, to have a go with this and use it as a tourist on a trip to Europe, to this beautiful town of Krakow, and see how I feel about this and give you my opinion. Why would you want to buy this or not? Firstly, a bit of housekeeping. Please check out this video here. The link is here on top here about the Novo carbon fiber. Could possibly win. Check out the video. You can, if you subscribe, if you're not subscribing already, and leave the comment on that video, you could possibly win that fancy monopod from Novo. And a bit of housekeeping. Thank you very much to UK Digital for fixing me with this RX100 Mark VII Sony camera for this little review. So let's go right into it. I wanted to talk about this camera, not about the technical specs of it, although I'm going to mention them a little bit, but why would you go for a camera this small at that price? This camera at the moment retails at just about £1,100–1,200, and it's about the same price as the A6600, I think, or 6,500, or very similar price, but this has got no exchangeable lenses. So I always wanted to know, why would you want one of those? How could you use this and for what? The camera has got 20 million pixel sensor. It's got a 24 to 200 zoom lens, which is pretty good. That lens is only f2.8 at the widest setting 24 and f4.5 at the further zoomed out setting. If you are a Sony user already, this camera has got exactly the same menus and features as the bigger Sony cameras like A7 III, A7S II or A9. Especially the autofocusing of this camera is exceptionally amazing for eye recognition, real tracking faces, and real tracking autofocus for animals and people. It's just outstanding, and that's pretty much the biggest selling point of this camera. It does do video in 4K. It does also HD in flat profiles like S2, S-Log2 and S-Log3, the same as the bigger A7 cameras. The other features of this camera is the touch screen for focusing, nice. Also the flippy screen for vlogging, but there's also a few fancy features like the high frame burst for photography. So if you're trying to catch movement, sports or anything, you don't want to miss the exact precise moment, this camera actually will do 90 frames per second burst. You can also do super slow motion, like 120 frames per second in full HD, also 240 frames per second and 480 and 960 frames per second, but the quality goes significantly down when you choose those settings. I have done pretty much everything here in the tests with 60 frames per second, and I do like that speed. It just works with everything I do commercially and playing with a camera like this. Photography wise, for the money of this camera costs, I expected a little bit more. The picture's just lacking something, although I always, every single time, shoot in manual mode. I never actually use any automatic settings on any of my cameras, and I'm quite confident changing the ISO, shutter speed and the aperture. With this camera, although I know what the settings are, they not instantly accessible. You have to press two buttons to get to some of those settings, and I found myself putting it on auto mode more and more. Yeah, the non-professional mode, auto mode. Yeah, but the quality of the pictures itself, they are very sharp. The eye autofocusing is incredibly good, so for shooting people, it's you can't fault it. It's very good, but somehow that lens, the focal length, is just not giving me what I'm expecting for the camera at this price. Few other options, functions here is got a microphone input, but no hot shoe to attach your microphone to, so you can have to put a bracket underneath and put a bigger microphone, which misses the point of this being a pocket camera. I have done some vlogging tests like this one. So this is a vlogging with the Sony RX100 Mark VII. I'm going to show you a little hidden gem in Krakow. We are on a street called Świętego Tomasza, just on the outskirts of Old Town. Easy to find because there's a Campanile hotel on this side. But on this side, opposite the hotel, there is, I don't know it. It's Academy of Music in Krakow University. There's no other signage on the door, there's nothing there at all, but if you go through this door and you go in a lift and upstairs, there's a hidden gem I'm going to show you. Let's go. Top floor, 6th. Metrum restaurant. This place is good for many reasons, not only because it's on the roof and there's a great views, which I'm going to show you, but the menu here is not on the paper. Every day they cook home-cooked meals here and they put it on the board, so the menu changes every time they do it. Yes, and we're here for breakfast. Let's have a look at the view. And on that I'm actually plugging the little Rode lavalier microphone onto the microphone input of the RX100 and attach it to my clothes while vlogging. Flippable screen is actually very good and sharp, you can see yourself very clearly. For taking selfies, photos, there's automatically switches on 3-second timer, which helps as well to capture your selfies. You can control it with a phone app and all the functions of the camera pretty much, and take a picture, transfer to your phone straight from the phone app. Very nice and handy feature, and it's very easy to connect. Now, one thing really bugs me with being such a high video spec, the same as A7 III pretty much on everything video settings here, that the aperture only goes to f11. So if you got a really bright sunny day and you're filming with this, you have to close the aperture to f11 because there is no way to attach any ND filter. This camera can also film in vertical for Instagram, Facebook stories, or TikTok videos. So I'm not just vlogging YouTube in a normal size video, but also when you turn the camera in a vertical, it turns the video like this. Another function very handy on here, as all Sony cameras at the moment do have a programmable custom button, so you can actually program the buttons to do whatever you use most, like ISO button, you can put them on a wheel, or the bin button. But the biggest feature of this little RX100 Mark VII is the ring around the lens. This is actually could be programmable as well to different functions, so you can change ISO or your shutter, or even the zoom of the lens with the ring. So yeah, it kind of makes it more feel like a camera with exchangeable lens, because you do have that little ring around. For the small camera like this, apart from the screen, you also do have a little viewfinder, electronic viewfinder. It's so tiny, but still pretty good on a sunny day, especially sunny day, or you want to put your eye to the view camera to take a picture and see better what you're focusing on. It is very good. It doesn't work with video. You can only use the screen to film on, not the little viewfinder. It's also got a little built-in flash, which has got a flexible feed, so you can bounce it to the ceiling. Yeah, it's future packed. The spec of this camera has impressed me on the paper, and that's why I wanted to have a go with it. But as I said, I am slightly disappointed, only because I was expecting significantly more. It just somehow doesn't feel right to me. Yes, it's good and handy camera, but I am pretty sure that you can buy camera for significantly less money which does the same photography as this. Also, the video spec, S-Log3 is very good for this, and it would be very handy if this is your second camera, if you're filming with a A7 III or A9 even, and you have to film something, you can get your bigger camera with a bigger lens too, so tighter spaces. This would be great to mount on a clamp or a tripod to get closer to somewhere you can't put the big camera. And this brings me very much to the conclusion. The biggest question I have: who is this camera for? Well, this camera, to me, instantly, because the price and what it is, it's for someone who already has got a big Sony camera. Someone like me who shoots with Sony professionally, and if I go traveling or holidays, vacation, I don't really want to take my big camera with me, my work camera, but I do want the functionality Sony gives me, the quality Sony gives me. So this camera, for someone like me to take a smaller camera in your hand, in your pocket, instead of the big camera, and have the same menus, the same settings, everything exactly the same, makes sense. Also, great camera for someone vlogging, and someone maybe vlogging seriously, i.e. talking about anything for YouTube. You got a great autofocusing, great flip screen, it's microphone input, so it's definitely something which would work with your setup as a vlogger. It's very hard to tell if this camera would actually appeal at the price to anyone just being serious photographer or trying to reach out, because if you are thinking seriously about photography and you want to do photography, have manual control over pictures and videos you do, I would think you'd be better getting a 6000 series cameras with exchangeable lenses, which you can expand to whatever you are going to use them. So hope you like this video. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe and comment and watch the carbon fiber video and comment on that video to be with a chance to win that carbon fiber tried monopod, which I'm gonna be drawing very, very soon. And thanks again to UK Digital for fixing me with this camera for this little review. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.